Welcome, my friends. On this week's End of an Era special, we're going to be answering all of your questions about Spanish visas and residency and about YouTooSpain Live. Because, yes, it's a special show. We're taking a retrospective, celebratory look at the past 4.5 years of expert advice and life changes because this is the very last Saturday show before we move to Monday evenings at 6 p.m. on September the 29th. So it's the 20th today, no Saturday Live on the 27th. We move 2 days back to the 29th. So, and who else could we have as our special guest today but the man who's been with us since the beginning and every 2 weeks since? It is, of course, our best mate, visa and residency specialist, Chris from Upsticks to Spain. And we'll be choosing some goodie bag winners later on for the sender of the very best comments and questions. And yes, don't miss that. Don't miss it. Tell us about your experiences on the live chat. That could be experiences of your move or your hopes and dreams of moving to Spain or your favorite YouTooSpain live show or video. And if you're watching the video back afterwards, then you can still do that. Put your questions, comments, etc. below because you there, you're a part of this too. You are very welcome to YouTooSpain. Let's have the new and slightly controversial theme. People are saying, oh, it's too powerful. You can't be too powerful, can you? Let's have a listen. Oh, it's too scary. But I think it's powerfully groovy. Speaking of groovy, let's welcome Chris from Upsticks. Hola, matey.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm very good, thanks. That looks like a huge office you have there in the background. Where are you this morning?
Well, my croissant's just arrived. Sorry, so you're gonna have to.
Nice. Oh, perfect timing. Breakfast in Marbella, isn't it? I recognise Marbella.
Yes, we're in Marbella today. So we were here yesterday evening for a birthday party, and I'll show you where we are. And
Oh,
right by the
sea.
beach.
Nice.
There's the sea. Everybody doing their exercise this morning.
Yes,
Or
except for
having a
you.
coffee. Yeah, except for me.
Yes, hangover and a croissant. Perfect.
Yeah, what's the word that we used? Might slightly. What's it? The word we used earlier on when your
Totally
screen went slightly pixelated.
Slightly pixelated. Yeah, I'm feeling slightly pixelated.
Yeah.
Except for last
Nothing.
night.
Nothing a good croissant and good coffee can't sort out.
Because and words for being drunk as well. We were talking about that, and that was
Yes.
Michael McIntyre said in his routine. You can use almost any English word for any English noun for being drunk, and he said totally bungalowed, and I think totally gazeboed sounds really good as well. I'm going to start that one.
Where did trolleyed come from?
That was a
Who
really common
invented
one, wasn't it?
trolleyed? And everybody said that, didn't they?
Yeah. So we can't use that one. That's too common. We have to invent
That's
our
too
own.
common.
Everybody invent their own word for being drunk. There you
I'm
go.
sticking with pixelated for hangovers.
Yeah, that's more of a hangover word, isn't it? Oh,
Yeah.
mate, it could be a drunk one. Could be a druggy one as well, you know. Could be anything. Everything's pixelated. So, Jason's Webb is with us today. Good morning, Scats. Why the last Saturday Live? Well, that's a very, very good question. I'm glad you asked that. Because I have loads of late night Friday gigs. I had one last night as well, and I don't think it's fair on you all that I have to either be really dazed and confused on a Saturday morning, or just totally full of several coffees. And I'd rather have a bit of a lie in because I normally have a gig on a Saturday as well. So I have to have a massive sleep in the afternoon, otherwise I'm not fit to work. So that was one of the reasons. And one of the other reasons is that some of the guests that I asked to come on the show, they can't make it on a Saturday morning. And so we thought, let's do it on an evening. And Monday evening seems to be the one where nobody does anything at all. So that seems to be the one where more people might be available to watch it as well. And also, people in the United States of America, they need cheering up right now. And it's impossible for them to watch this show unless they wake up at like 4 o'clock in the morning, or depending on which coast they're on. And for some of them, it's like midnight, isn't it? I don't know. even before then. So yeah.
Yeah. I'll be honest, it's getting increasingly difficult. When we started this show, so 4.5 years ago, how old my kids would have been. So like Raoul would have been 7 or even
Yeah.
6, and Isla would have been 9, so
Tiny.
she's 9. So it'd have been
5.
5.
Mm-hmm.
Gracias. And so then unfortunately the weekends they have quite a few more commitments now.
Mm.
So we're messing about, we're moving around, weren't we? So gracias.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Mondays are a great day. It's a great way to kick off the week as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And then I can put out a video now instead of putting out a midweek video on a Wednesday. I'm going to do that on a Friday, so that takes you into the weekend, and you can watch it anytime over the weekend that you want, and then be ready for the Monday live. So there you go.
That's excuse me while I'm still having my breakfast.
That's all right. You carry on. I'll talk to the people on the live chat for a second. Steve Moffat says, good morning. And Anton cares. We've not heard from them on the live chat for a few weeks. They do still watch, I know. We had a message from them, both of us, this morning. They're popping over to Malaga after the new
On Raoul's
year.
birthday, Raoul's 12th birthday, they'll be here.
Wow, brilliant. So, yeah, lots of things to celebrate. And it's Ant's birthday as well. It's a big birthday. So, yeah, I'll answer your email after the show. And there we go. And Robo says, Buenos dias todos. And Donald says, sorry guys, slept in here in Glenfarg. He's here now. That's all right. We've just been waffling, Don. We're all right. Ant said, parasoled. That's a good one. These are all words from the kind of coverings, aren't they? Although bungalow's more of a building. There we go. Jason's Web says, wee! Oh, I see. He was trying to type something else. Well-earned rest, then. Good idea. Yes. Going to get some well-earned rests on Saturday morning. That will be good. Robert said, our dream of moving to Spain wouldn't have been achieved if I hadn't found Scat's YouTube channel and then seen Chris. I always say, without Chris, we wouldn't be here, but I would add Scats to that too. Thank you. I feel like an addition. I've been totally additioned. There's another one. Every word that we say today, we're going to use. Morning, guys. 4 weeks since submitting my NLB documents and waiting patiently. Well, you're kind of halfway there. What? Which BLS are you? Does Chris know that one? Is he with you?
I can't see the name.
Tony Silcock.
Yes. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think Tony was Manchester, off the top of my head. Yeah.
So how long are they taking at the moment?
Let's not talk about Manchester.
Well, they're taking a while.
No, yeah, Manchester seems to. Now, what we're finding is that London seems to be really good at issuing the visas and the dates requested, and Edinburgh as well. Not too bad. We just had one through Edinburgh, which was 5 weeks, and was requested at that specific date, so that was good. But Manchester seemed to have a run of it's like they open the non-lucrative visa file and then close it again for 2 or 3 weeks, because they seem, when they do come, they seem to come in a run of visas, like they're 12 in 1 week and then nothing. And then there's no real sort of rhyme or reason towards the ones that were 12 in 1 week. We had one that was bordering 14 weeks, and then there was another one on 7 weeks. So yeah, they're a little bit random, unfortunately, from Manchester. They do come out and they are responding, but yeah, we've got some people now who are on 14 weeks. And we've sent them like nudge letters, contacted BLS, and BLS contacted the consulate, and they're still not out yet.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
So you're hoping for a run. So if you like the runs,
we're
go
hoping,
to Manchester.
Yeah, we're hoping for a run this week.
Mike Fisk said, looking good, Scats. Chris looks bazookaed. Nice one. Yeah. That's a powerful one. And Donald says, I'd endorse what Robbo just said. The whole team are all people I'd met on Scats' show. Yes, we have a fantastic network, and between us, we've both got slightly different network, but a lot of the same people are on both.
Yeah.
Chris Hardman says, good morning, Scats and Chris. And Jason has a question. Woo! There's some questions. What, in your view, is the likelihood of the EPA rules for banned Oh, I see. For Band E in 2030 and Band D in 2033, deadline rules being passed slash law. You know what that's about?
No, what's that?
Ah,
EPA.
yeah. Yeah. Jason, explain the EPA.
I can't Google while I'm here. Sorry.
It's to do with whether you can. Oh, my mind's gone blank. It's to do with property. People being in Band E and Band D properties into. You've got to basically your property's got to pass um, in Band D or in Band E for it to be able to be sold or used or anything.
Oh, the electricity thing. Is that the
I think it's more
electricity
than
thing?
I think it's more than just electricity. I think it's building regulations or things like that.
Yeah, funnily enough, Julie was talking about this. Our appointment specialist from Alicante, one of them works there, and
Mhm.
she just had a community. They got a grant. I didn't think this was right. They got a grant to upgrade the property to a point where it would be safe, future-proof it, so all the residents will be able to sell their property in the future. They got the grant, but they have to pay for the work up front and then retrieve the money from the grant. And I was like, well, that's not
Mhm.
really a grant then, is it? Because you could be waiting,
Mhm.
years for that. Because if there's a change of government halfway through, I'm assuming that once it's written into law and you've got your grant, that's absolutely fine. But yeah, so just be careful when you live in a community, because what she was explaining to me was it was going to be very expensive, and there was no certainty when you got your money back.
Aha. Jason says EPC. Sorry, that's why I didn't know what the EPA was. There we go.
Mm.
He did say earlier on. Sorry for Miss Spoilings. I've not got my glasses on. That's got to be the best comment of the day. Put that one down for a prize. Uh, so yeah, I'm not sure. To answer your question, I don't think anybody knows what the likelihood of laws being passed is, but I would say with all of the housing, the force that's been gone into putting these new housing rules in through law, I'd say there's a good chance. But it's still you can only guess when it comes to laws because they've got to go through Parliament.
Yeah.
So Ant says, on the day of your departure from Saturday mornings, I thought it fitting for a few comments as songs and a kind of mini list of now famous comments to follow bit by bit. Keep an eye out. Okay then. Good. Puns and song titles and all kinds of things from Ant. Looking forward to those. Thank you, Ant. Energy performance. Oh yes, it's an energy performance. Don't know what the C stands for. It's like rating. Yeah. And Jason says, yes, grants available. If you're not clued up on it, uh, I'll think of another question instead. No problem. Yeah, cool. Yes, I'm not really clued up on that one. I'm just waiting for something to happen and then I'll help announce it. So yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, keep on asking questions, everybody. If you're watching and you haven't asked a question yet, then do get on the live chat. You don't have to actually talk. You just have to type. And so you can ask about visas and residency, car registrations, YouTooSpain, Upsticks. You can ask about the Upsticks YouTube as well. Anything you want and share your memories of the
About
last 4.5 years.
Marbella, if you like.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see what we can answer. So actually, we had a couple of questions from YouTube. So let's get those out of the way to start with. And let's get rid of that one and move on to this one. Where is it? There it is. Where's that screen? So we can still see us picture in picture. There it is. Okay, so this is from somebody who is doing their 5-year renewal on the TIE, the Brexit TIE. Needs help in choosing the correct appointment. That's the CETA. Is it the Policía Toma de Huellas, Expedición de Tarjeta, Inicial, Renovación, Duplicado, etc.? And I said, that sounds correct to me. Because it's a renovación, that's the renewal. But I will ask Chris the question on the live show. So, Chris, take it away.
Yeah. So that's once approved, that is the correct appointment. So if you've gone through the government, had your approval for your renewal, which they call a resolución favorable, and you've got that in your hand, then you'll have to go and book one of these appointments, which is toma de huella, literally means taking of the fingerprint. And expedición de tarjeta is expedition of the card. Obviously, iniciar, renovación, or duplicado. Inicial is the first card. Renovación is pretty much speaks for itself. That's the renewal. And duplicado is if you lost your card and need to get a new one.
There we go. Brilliant. So I'm glad.
Can I just a point on that,
Yeah.
quite an interesting point on this, something that happened to me yesterday, was there's been quite a bit of press about the police stations requesting the EX17 document for people who are beneficiaries of the withdrawal agreement, Brexit residencies, basically.
Yep.
And it's supposed to be an EX23. And we've had around 200 of these appointments, and we've never had an EX17 requested. So I did think, I was like, it's very strange that you see it all over the social media. But funnily enough, I was out on an appointment yesterday because we had about 8 appointments all in the space of an hour in Malaga. So Christine was inside and I was outside receiving clients, which was really nice because I got to go and meet a lot of people I've done residencies 4 or 5 years ago. And I went in with our last client because it was a particularly difficult case of somebody had actually lost their card, but they'd actually lost their green card, never exchanged it, and changed address. So I had to go in and do a bit of explaining. And they tried to force me to use the EX17.
Oh.
And that's the first time I've ever had it. And I said, no. And I sat down. And I said, the lady said, oh, you got the wrong form. I said, well, I haven't. If you look at the law, it states it here. I can get it on my phone if you want. She said, you have got the wrong form. I said, I really respect you, but I would like you to go and get a second opinion from somebody else, please, because I know this is the right form. And if it isn't the right form, we've done around 200 of these. So we're going to have to ask you to reopen all the files and change the forms on everyone because they're obviously all wrong if you're right, you know. And but she forced me. She said, you start filling out that form, I'm going to find out. So I said to our client, I'm going to start filling this out. She's going to come back and tell me I'm right in a minute. So, and which she did. She came back and went, on this occasion, I'll let you use that form. I'm going, okay, of course. But yeah, so just on this occasion, all right.
Yeah.
Give you they say giving the reason, dando razón in Spanish. But yeah, so if you are a withdrawal agreement beneficiary and you are going for your renewal and you're going on your own, make sure it's an EX23 and stand your ground if they try and get you to use anything else.
Brilliant. Yes, and you use those phrases. That's brilliant. I've done 200 of these today. Yeah.
No, I just said, look, we've done 200 of these now since they came into force, and this is the first time we've been told this, which means that all the files are wrong, and you're going to have to now. We can give you a list of names of files that you're going to have to dig out to contact the clients to change it, which is obviously never going to happen because it was right. But that was when she sort of looked at us and went, "Oh, okay."
Yes, good stuff. Right, let's bring the next question up. This is an interesting one. This is from Pakistan. Hi, I'm from Pakistan. My wife and son have a visa for a year. Didn't say initially which visa. We plan to travel after 4 months. Doesn't say where they want to travel. My question is, can we travel after 4 months? Are we having any trouble getting an NIE? I think that's should say, will we have any trouble getting an NIE? So I asked the question, what kind of visa do they have? Where do they intend to arrive to? Which I presume is Spain. And where do they intend to travel to? And all he put was family reunification visa coming from Pakistan. So there's been a miscommunication there of tenses and words. So presumably they're coming to Spain, family reunification visa. Can they travel after 4 months? Does that mean they want to leave the country for how long? I don't know. It doesn't say.
The problem is with that. I mean, if it was say a family reunification visa, if they've applied for it outside through a consulate, and he's got a year on that, then he wouldn't have any problem in travelling after 4 months. So yeah, as long as the visa hasn't expired and the entry stamp is in the passport before the visa expired. I didn't realise they gave the family reunification for a year though. Now that might be a change from the 20th of May.
Yeah.
The same as the NLV.
There we go.
Obviously, family reunification, he comes in. You just got to be careful. We don't manage that platform, so I'm not too sure what the minimum stance is before you renew. And it doesn't sound right that you only get a year on a family reunification visa. But yeah, as long as this visa hasn't expired, essentially you can come in after 4 months and that'd be fine. Obviously, with an NLV, albeit you've got a 365-day visa, you've got to be careful of spending a minimum 6 months in Spain. In your first.
So the point is more how long can you travel for rather than can you travel. Of course,
Yeah.
you can travel from day one, I suppose, can't you? But you might be in trouble if you stay away for too long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay
Yep.
then. That kind of answers that one, although we need more details. So if you're watching, don't know if your name was on there, Asiasi. Don't know if that's your name or just your handle. There we go. There's some discussion going on the live chat about the EPA and the EPC. Mike says Environmental Protection Act, EPA. I think Environmental Protection Agency actually is EPA. I've seen the Simpsons, the movie. EPA. EPA. Remember that? But it wasn't. It was the EPC. So, and Jason was saying lots more illegal rentals removed from rental platforms recently. Yeah, what they're saying, 50, 60,000. Good news for the housing market and locals, hopefully more rentals available. Yeah, long-term rentals. It's the short-term ones that have been taking over. So, yeah, hopefully.
No one seems to publish anywhere what illegalities are being committed. That's what I'm trying to find out. Is it they're not declaring their tax? Is it that so people that's they keep stating illegal properties, and I'm trying to find out the criteria.
That'll be people who haven't got a license.
Also, actually, people haven't got the license, but it says licenses removed. A lot of the publications and shout say licenses have been removed. So I'm like, okay, so so people who have published their property without a license are kicked off anyway. But then there was licenses have actually been cancelled. And I'm trying to find out why they've been cancelled. Do you get what I mean? Is it people are doing something they're unaware of, or I haven't really? No one seems to. I'm trying to find somebody who's had their license cancelled. That'd help, wouldn't it? To see the resolution, because if you get something cancelled, then the government has to issue a document why that's been cancelled. It'd be really good to have one of those in front of us and find out.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll wait for that to happen and see if we can find anybody. But the illegal rentals, there's a lot of people advertising on Airbnb and Booking.com who haven't got the official license there. Rural, whatever it's called, rural property. Can't remember what it's called now. We've got the sign outside our gate as well, because the place where we live, that used to be short-term rental. There we go. So Adrian Robinson, when applying for the first year non-lucrative visa, would you prove you have more money than required or just the required amount? That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, it's always in theory, you only need the required amount, but obviously more makes it an easier decision for them.
Yeah.
So for a couple, so for an individual, it's 28,800 at the moment. We think Keyfriend may go up next year. 36,000 for a couple, or should we say a main applicant and a dependent, or a couple. But yeah, I mean, in theory, as long as you've got the amount to get you through that first year's visa, that's fine. Moving forward, though, it's always a good idea if you are going to submit the visa application just to try and have some sort of proof or explanation as to how you continue, if you want to renew that, how you continue to support your life financially in Spain.
Yeah.
Unless you're just doing a year. Some people just do a year.
Yeah. And that would be your answer if you were asked the question. But yeah, if you're doing more than a year, if you intend to stay and go for the whole 5 years and be permanent resident, then you kind of got to have a plan for how you're going to support yourself, because in years 2 and 3, you need double the savings amount if you're using savings.
Yeah.
There we go. Ant says, I thought EPA was a beer. I think it
does
is.
sound like a beer.
It's IPA. Yeah. Famous sayings. It depends. Indeed, I'm wearing the T-shirt. I've not said it often enough recently, but it is the answer to just about every question. And Adrian, more is better, but you need to prove double for renewal years 2 and 3. So if you just have minimum for year 1 to live on, what are you going to live on years 2 and 3? This is my problem. Indeed, a lot of people's problem. Yeah.
It's always good to since the 20th of May, what has come into play a lot is, well, if you're planning to get a visa, then it'd be a good idea now to try and get some sort of proof when you open the bank account you'll be using, because they ask for certificates of opening the banks now. When you opened your account, some people have accounts for 50 years. It's a bit crazy, but just a letter from your bank saying how long you've been with them. And also, if you have any, say, large movements of funds, it's always been the case that you need to prove the origin of the funds, but even more so now. So if you had, for example, a plan where you were maybe doing your first year and then receiving cash from any sort of asset, a pension or house sale or something in the second year, possibly wary of capital gains and tax liabilities, then just make sure you keep all that proof of where the funds came from, because you will be requested it.
There you go. Jason says people not paying tax on their property. That's possibly one of the things that you'd get your license removed.
Yeah, so I wonder if there's, like, I don't know. I'd love to see. I did ask Jose, our technician, because does a number of tourist licenses, because he has to do the technical inspection of the property to gain it. Back in the day, he did lots, but he didn't have anybody yet who's been removed. So, or he's not telling me us.
Jason says it was 65,000 properties removed a few months ago, 50,000 more recently. Yeah.
Yes. Sure, I mean, that's a good thing. Sure, you don't want to take your kids and family somewhere it's illegal, because then there'll be all sorts of insurance liabilities if one of you fall over and crack your head open, I suppose. So, yeah, I'm assuming, I don't know, maybe that's one to ask Sam next time she's on, but if you are renting an illegal property, then I'm assuming you haven't got civil liability insurance for people who stay there. You've only got house insurance, which then wouldn't cover somebody who's renting on a temporary basis if there was an accident.
Yeah, it's true. It's like not having tax on your car, isn't it? Then the insurance doesn't count. They wouldn't pay out on that if you didn't have any tax. So if you've not got one, you haven't got the other.
It's like driving clients. You can't drive clients. Now, I had a big discussion with Antonio about this. So I was like, we can't drive clients, because if you drive clients in your car, you have personal insurance for personal trips and everybody's insured. But if you're providing a service and that person contracted you and paid you, then you have to be a public service, like a taxi driver, to be able to provide that service.
Wow.
So there is an argument to say that, okay, well, if you pick up a client, then the service doesn't start until you get to the place where you provide the translation. But I'm not too sure I'd want to risk that. No. Because if you were going somewhere, you had an accident, and they say, oh, we're on our way to a police station, well, in my view, that could be perceived that, because insurance companies won't pay out for anything, that you're providing a service, and you could really be in trouble.
Yeah.
If you're not a taxi driver. So there you
go. Meant to put up Jason's comment. Hopefully there'll be more for sale in my price range soon. Ha ha ha. Yes. That would be good, wouldn't it, if these properties that haven't got their licenses anymore. I think in Barcelona and other places they were talking about when your license comes up for renewal, they weren't going to renew it either. They were kind of stopping it at that point. So it was going to be all the way up to 2028 when the present set of licenses came up for renewal. They were going to stop them. So that'll be even more properties over time. So, Power to the People says, hey, Scats and Chris, question for Chris. Do you get involved in changing visa type from NLV over to Autonomo? Thank you.
I'm afraid we don't, but I did have a really good conversation with, I don't think you've ever had her on, Debbie from Malaga Legal.
No.
I don't know if you've had, yeah, they're down by you, and we don't do that, but I had a really good conversation with her, and she gave me a form to fill out for people who are interested in that. So we could definitely recommend that you speak to them. They're great. They do NLVs as well, but we're all of our colleagues in this industry. We work together. There's plenty of work for everybody, and we all share information. And they'll be the people to speak to if they'll assess your case and see if they can take you on. So yeah, I'll give them a shout out. What we did do this year was a DMV to NLV.
Yeah, nice.
Which I took on as a challenge. I was like, this one's going to be fun. because when we spoke to immigration, they went, "I'm afraid there's no provision in law for this, but submit the documents. We'll have a look at them." And I was like, "Okay." So it was actually a first-time NLV in Spain.
Wow.
Which is sort of impossible, but they're already on a residency platform. That platform had expired. The conditions related to that residency had expired, but they did meet NLV conditions, but they couldn't apply from the UK because they lived in Spain. So we submitted it here, got a kickback, handed in more documents, and then it sat there for 5 months, and then it came out as an approval.
Wow.
So
That
we're
is a
pleased with
first.
that. DMV to NLV.
Yeah, because that's a difficult one. Because basically you're saying my business isn't working anymore. So have they? The question is, has the business failed? So why should we let them in on a non-lucrative visa if they've?
It was a work platform, DMV, with a contract. So the contract ended, and a pension kicked in. So it was a
That's more
question
like
of
it.
getting the dates right and then proving. It was a bit of to and fro, but yeah, eventually it came through.
Cool.
Yeah.
There we go.
And they got 2 years immediately because they'd already done 1 year. So.
And Adrian is saying, would you, at the point of application, put in the explanation of funds in the cover letter?
Yes.
That would be a yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Jason says, my plan, says Jason, is to have 60,000 savings before applying with separate funds to live on. Good plan. So you aren't going to spend that 60k savings, and that'll be good on your year 2 and 3 application, presumably, that you haven't spent that savings, but you need an explanation of where your separate funds are coming from, I suppose. There we go. And Jason also says, once renewal for years 4 and 5, in theory, I can then use the 60k. So yes, in your last couple of
We're
years.
going to know a lot more. Good thing is this next year, when it comes up to our 5-year anniversary from videos, we're going to know an awful lot more about how the permanent residency applications are being treated, especially with people in LVs and Brits, because they will start kicking off around April, May time next year. So in theory, you don't have to present your funds. It's more a study of how long you've actually been in Spain to make sure that you haven't stayed out of Spain more than 10 months, which is allowed in the 5 years. But it's going to be good next year when they start happening to see what other criteria they sneak into place in the different areas.
Ant says, I'm presuming it's Ant doing all the talking. It tends to be the one doing the typing. He says, just curious if there's any capital gains tax changes being mentioned in government circles in Spain on main residence.
No, not as far as I'm aware. And I was with Jeremy talking about it last night, actually, because it was a tax birthday for a tax firm.
Tax birthday.
Tax birthday. You never would have get involved in town saying, I'm glad I worked with immigration, talking to some of those guys last night. Wow. Imagine dealing with Hacienda every day.
Yeah.
And the crazy things that they asked for. I said, I
That
thought
would
immigration was bad, but...
That would explode my head, talking about tax all evening. I'm not surprised you were on the margaritas.
That's Lara's fault.
You got totally taxed. There's another one.
Yeah, I got taxed, yeah.
And Resonance Filter, that's a great name. Still dreaming of moving to Benidorm or Finistrat. Where's Finistrat? Is that near Benidorm?
Yeah, it's up there, I think.
Yeah. Georgina, living at 50, says, hi, if I have to be out of Spain for more than 10 months in 5 years on the NLV due to elderly parents, is it easy to keep reapplying? Do I need 5 consecutive years in for permanent residency?
You do need to have maintained your residence for, you can't have been outside for more than 10 months, should we say, when you get to that point. And unfortunately, then at that point, you can't renew you can't just keep renewing for 2 years and 2 years. So you'd either have to find maybe another residency platform that you could apply for at that point, or you'd have to essentially leave and start again, I'm afraid.
Well, I thought you could carry on doing a stay temporary if you were... No, can't you?
No.
Oh, because that's been on social media as established truth. So there you go.
No.
If you can't, then. Okay. Crazy. And whoops, what's that one? I put a star on that instead of a show. Chris deals with the explanations. Ha ha ha. There we go. And Ant's remembering famous comments from the show. Get your ducks lined up. Ducks lined up in a row. Yeah, that's
I
one
was
of
thinking
your.
Coronation Street when you say that.
All right, duck. That's a
Yeah,
Leicester
they did have the
expression as well.
ducks on the
Oh, on the
wall.
wall.
You
I
see,
see. Yeah.
yeah. Who was that? What was her name?
Uh,
Hilda.
Ina Sharples, was it? Or the other one?
I don't know the actress's name. What was the character's name? Hilda. Was it? Who I can't remember now.
That was Ina
Famous ducks
Sharples
on the
was the
wall.
name of the. That was the name of the character. I think.
Oh, right.
I think. Or was that the actress's name? Wow, too long ago for me. Donald says our new car is waiting for me for collection when we arrive for our new life in Almuñeca, as well as paying for the car and getting insurance. Thanks, Sam. Is there the equivalent of road tax to pay? Oh, that's a good one.
Yes. Yeah, so you pay road tax. It's slightly different here in Spain. You pay it on an annual basis. So it runs like the fiscal year from January to 31st December. But your actual tax bill won't come to you until March or April of the year that you're actually paying for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And
so you've got, yeah. So
yes, whoever owns the
person,
car at January the 1st. You're just about to say that, aren't
yeah,
you? Yeah.
yeah. So that whoever owns it January the 1st. So your car tax would have been paid for the year, Donald. And then next year, when you've done the change of ownership, which has probably been done already, Traffico should get a notification that you are the new owner, and then your tax bill normally is sent out to you in a physical form in the letter for the first year. And once you get that letter, you can then go back to Patronato, which will be, oh no, you're in Granada, aren't you? So it'll be the Granada provincial, similar to Patronato. It's called, I can't remember now in Granada. I should know that, shouldn't I? Because I used to have a house there and pay tax there. And but Granada, especially Almuñeca, where you're going, is part of the provincial tax structure, and there is an office there in Almuñeca. So once you get your first tax bill, or if it doesn't arrive, just nip down there, and then you can actually set up the direct debit straight there.
Jason says after the 5 years, by then I should be getting UK state pension. Oh, that's good. If you can tie that one in. Brilliant. And Carla Finistrad, he says, lovely beaches not far from Benidorm. Thank you for answering that one. It's lovely there without the chaos of Benidorm. Good. Sounds much better. Andy Elmer says, morning, gents. Almost ready to make the call to Upsticks before the end of the year. Waiting to exchange contracts. Jolly good.
Get it booked in. I've just we've had to just close the calls nearly into November now for the calls. Unfortunately, at the moment, we will open some more once we get through the end of September, maybe first week of October. But this is a particularly busy time at the moment because of the capital gains window. You know, so there's a lot of people come in this time of year because they're avoiding spending 183 days. But that compounded over the last 2 years with renewals makes September horrific. So I said, right, the other day I was looking, I was thinking, look, we've got it. We really want to speak to people who are coming, and obviously it's great for business, but at some point you've got, I said, look, we're going to have to close the calls till next month just to make sure that we attend to all our clients properly. So get a call booked in now.
Yeah, good plan. We have an answer to the Coronation Street question. It's Hilda Ogden.
Hilda, I knew it was Hilda.
Yeah, you did, yes. And Eric Cerda, he says, hello, I will be applying for an Autonomo visa and have a question with form EX07. It asks for an address in Spain in 3 different sections. Yeah. So what do you put?
Your address in Spain, I assume.
What happens if you haven't got one, I suppose? Yeah, you would need one, wouldn't you, if you were going to set up as Autonomo?
You would need one, yeah. Now, in terms, we don't do the Autonomo visa, but in the NLV, which I assume must be exactly the same for that visa, then, well, it depends, actually, no. So, what I do know, so the NLV, you only have to have a temporary address. You then have to take proof of that registered address. Okay, so you don't have to have that proof at the moment, like in other consulates in the US and stuff. I know that they have asked previously for rental contracts of proof of ownership, whereas in the UK, the consulates don't currently do that. But if it's a self-employed visa, and the address is relates to the activity that you're going to be carrying out in Spain, I assume that you'd already actually have to have that in place and rental contracts, and that would be the address that you put there, because obviously it'd have to relate to the activity you're going to do.
Yes, indeed. He does say in the
Unless
next message, can you use a friend's address? And does it have to be in the same city or region as your business plan? Will a virtual address suffice?
I don't think a virtual, it'd have to be a physical address. As I say, we don't manage that platform, but definitely a virtual address wouldn't suffice, and it'd be advisable to have the same address, even if it's a temporary address. It depends what your business is, because you'd have to have somewhere already to register your business, wouldn't you? So yeah, unless it's an online business, but then you'd be a digital nomad. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. We have another Coronation Street one. Ant says Stan and Hilda Ogden, and he's going da 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 da. He's going da 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 da. Wah wah wah. There. I'm glad I remembered the theme. It's just EastEnders is a lot easier to remember. Doof 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 doof. There we go. Ant says aged memories needs us both to recall bits. Whoever remembers types. Types? Yes. Journey with Steve says, a minor question. How important is it to get the passport stamped on entry to Spain? As every time I come via, and that's where the message ends. So, yeah. Oh, there's a more full message here. Because every time I come via the airport, they never stamp my passport. If I ask and they refuse, what do I do?
really, really, it depends. I don't know what your circumstances. So if you're obviously a tourist, then it's very important to have it stamped to prove the days that you've been in Spain, that you're respecting that. On For an NLV, the stamps prove how many days you've been out, which could be crucial at the end of which this could end anyway soon because of the entry-exit system. But at the end of the 5 years that you've spent the allotted amount of time that you need to in Spain, if you don't get a stamp, then make sure you keep all your proof of travel. So your boarding cards, your bookings, and stuff like that. Because on the occasions where there's been any questions asked when we've been doing renewals and have missed stamps, then immigration have accepted proof of travel, which has been boarding cards and stuff. So keep all your PDFs and all your bookings.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, we've come to the end of the questions that are presently on there. Shall we have a look at? I'm going to bring up. Let's see. One of the pictures I have on my screen is this that you can't see. We're going to be talking about the live shows that we have done over the last 4.5 years, and we both thought we'd started the show in 2020, but I'm looking at this screen now. This is called YouTube Studio, and it lists all of the videos on YouTooSpain or whatever channel you have, and these are the live videos. And I've gone to the very bottom to go to the very first one, and it's February the 27th 2021, so it is 4.5 years. But I'm sure
We're going to
we
have
were
a birthday
talking,
party then at the end of February.
yeah, should have a 5-year birthday. Brilliant. Yeah, parties in 2026. And this was called, let's just bring it up on, this is the next bit, Spanish visas for Brits after Brexit #1. So yeah, we arranged like 4 in a row, all to do with different things. Like one of them was, what health insurance do you need? And another one is the part 2 of the process when you actually arrive. I can't remember what the fourth one was, but this was the first part of it, and this was still when people were applying at the consulates. Yeah, and on this, I used to call the show the Saturday Morning Spanish Breakfast. Vague memories of that. I don't know when it changed to being the Saturday Live. But yeah, so that was the first show. I'm not sure if I actually play it, what would happen. Let's just press play and see. You might not be able to hear it because it's coming through my headphones. Let's give it a go. Nothing happening. Oh, it says it'll begin in 5 seconds. Oh, that's what I used to do. Can you hear that?
I can't. No.
Yeah. I can hear it in my headphones. Yeah, that's the old theme tune. I'll put my headphones on there. So I look really
Yeah.
worried there because I've got this big flight deck of things in front of me, and my picture and the sound is moving at a slightly different rate as well. That was quite funny. It was completely out of sync, and we got to a point when you actually got on the screen, and it was totally out of sync, and there was a big echo, so we could hear each other back, and it was just complete technical nightmare. So there you go. That's what it was like in the early days. I'll just move it on one so you can see what it was like. Um, Come on, move along now. Move along. I should be showing it on a bigger screen, shouldn't I? I know what I should do. We'll do this and right to the bottom, and we'll have a look at it on YouTube. We'll be able to get a bigger screen there.
We're gonna have to count how many we've actually done.
There you are. Have to count how many we've done. Yeah, yeah. Look
That's
at you
before I had a
there.
grey beard. You can tell what NLVs do to you.
Yeah, and that's your old office as well.
Yeah, that's that's before we expanded.
And I'm sitting there with the top of my head cut off by the YouTooSpain logo. And that was my green screen behind me in my front room, the spare bedroom in Ireland. And I used to put up the Spain flag there. So yeah, that's the funny thing. Before this, so this was in
Yes.
February, and it was April when I got my Irish citizenship. Was still waiting for it, and then we moved in October. So it all happened really, really, really quickly that first year, and and we were still busy doing the show during that time as well, weren't we? Oh, can you hear me?
Sorry, yeah, so the ladies came over, she was asking me what the gimbal was. So I
Brilliant.
just given a gimbal explanation. I said it's for sale actually if you want it. No.
Oh, you're using the number one. You've got the new one there. haven't
I'm
you?
using the mobile gimbal, the DJI, but now I've got the camera. I don't really need it anymore. But then I'm thinking, actually, it was really handy on this occasion, so maybe I need to keep it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, for all of those lives. Actually, let's just get back to the questions.
I've unfortunately
Because
just had a notification that I get kicked out of the hotel in
in 10 minutes.
in 10 minutes. So I've got to run in 10 minutes. Otherwise, I'm going to find
All
my
right.
bags on the street. Sorry about that.
Brilliant. Julie says, "Have I missed you answering my question, Scat?" Let's have a look. See if I can. Where's your question? Sorry if you missed that one. I can't find your name. No, I can't find the question. Better ask it again. No, it's not in the live chat. Maybe it didn't get transferred when you put it up there. Sorry about that, Julie. Yeah, ask the question again. And also says, for your information, let's just get this thing off the screen. For your information, for your stats, we watch on TV and each other's mobile phone, hence 3 viewing. P.S. y'all, if either both have been useful or helpful, please give a thumbs up to help the channel. Absolutely, yes. Click on the like button. And I mean, I was going to talk about. I've got loads and loads of notes about the changing face of this channel, and Spain admin over the years. Shall I just run through some of the things that have happened, and
Go for it.
with the live show, and then personally, and I'll try and get this all done in about 3 minutes, so that make sure you get off on time. So yeah, I've talked about the live show number 1 with its technical problems, out of sync video and echoes, and my worried look, which is it is. If you look closely, my eyeballs are red with the worry of making sure I got everything right. But it turned out quite well. I wasn't even on this Restream platform, so it didn't look anywhere near as professional at the time. But Yeah. Anyway, and I remember the show with Steve Proctor, which was only about 2 or 3 shows in, and that kind of cemented a friendship and gave us somewhere to stay while we were house hunting in Ireland, and so that was lovely. And there's been loads of changes in the non-lucrative visa. Uh, we won't run through them because there's been so many. There's been the abolition of the golden visa. There was lots of talk about that. There's the move from the consulates to BLS, the live broadcasts from the UK when you were the roving reporter in the field using your phone like you are today. And
Yeah, Manchester, London, Peterborough passport office. We've done them all.
we did. We didn't do Edinburgh, did we?
No, I didn't, because I went to Edinburgh to see the BLS office, and but I didn't. I don't think it was a Saturday morning. So
No, it wasn't. No, yeah, because you went. I think you went to 2 on the same trip, and
tell you what though, the Monday afternoon thing that could be quite good because I can get out and about on a Monday. So we might do a few more roving reporters. This whole system with these headphones and this mobile seems to work quite well. So we'll try. We might try and invent a roving reporter again. Let's reinvent it, shall we?
Excellent. Yeah, let's do it. And I put. Oh yeah. Do you remember I did a whole load of money videos for a few months? I did financial videos. They didn't work out very well, and that was on a Monday evening, as it happened. And it wasn't very popular at the time with YouTooSpain watches. It was a bit too dry. I was going through lots of figures, and I just thought after a while, no, not enough people watching that one, not enough people showing an interest. So you've got to move with the times. And the other thing I've been talking about in my notes is all of the different characters that I've played in all the videos, starting with Walter, who was Northerner Walter, and he was originally a obnoxious Brexiteer, but he wasn't really objectionable enough, so he became a kind of a everyman character, asking the questions so that I could answer them. And then Tommy the Southerner took over with his shouting at the camera, and then the Colonel appeared later. He was even more absurd because he was rich, so I could take the mickey out of him a lot more. And then there was Dick. Ooh, hello. Very camp one. And yeah, loads and loads of other ones. I remember there was a Geordie and a Brummie and an American at one point as well. So yeah, that got a bit complicated playing all of those characters because it took ages to edit the videos and play all the roles and changing the shirt and getting a different background to show where they were. Anyway, so I'm not going to stop using them, I think, and especially Walter. I think we'll bring Walter back and see what happens there. One of the recent interviews that I did was John from Eco Vida Homes, which is a whole different experience, which is a proper 3 cameras in a studio, which happened to be in your office, Chris, and that was brilliant. And that's been kind of spurred on by me starting the radio show, which is something else that's happened more recently. So I'm doing
I'd love to have a proper podcast set up, like what that they do with a table and the 2 mics that come down. And
well, funnily enough,
I'd love to do that.
I've just done something here in the office, which I can't show you because I can't move the computer around. But over there in the office, against that little wall at the end, used to be my electric piano, and it's been there for the whole of the run of the show, but I've not been able to use it because when I plug it in and plug it into the amplifier, there's a horrible earth buzz, and it's unbearable. It's too loud to even hear the piano. So it's just been sitting there through winter and summer, but eventually with a cloth over it, and it turned into a table, and it was piled high with lots of very light things, but just awful. So over the last couple of days, I've tidied it all up, and I've moved the piano into the house where hopefully I'll be able to use it. I've not checked, but I don't think we've got an earth buzz in the house. So that does leave a big gap in the room. And if I put a microphone on the edge of the desk here, another one, then I'll be able to do the podcast in front of the screen, and maybe a couple of different cameras on it, so you can switch between the 2. So I'm thinking podcasts. That's a good idea. Having 2 people.
That's awesome. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think it's great. Podcasts are great, and I think it's. I listen to loads of podcasts, and I always think that's good because it goes just a little bit deeper.
Mhm.
Especially people have moved over, and if you can do it, I do like this platform for a podcast, but I do think it comes across well when you're actually together because you vibe a lot more off the person that you're with, don't you? You know, so
Yeah, absolutely.
gracias.
And I've made a list of all the personal things that both of us have gone through. It was the cancer year last year, the year of hell. I won't go through all of that again, but yeah. So there's been all of
You
that,
did it with a
and
smile, though. You did it with a smile.
absolutely,
I have to say, you know, I've never been to the hospital and had such a laugh, to be honest with you. So, you know, I didn't have cancer, but we did find mystery coffee shops. We did eat well, and considering that we were in quite possibly the most awful waiting room in the world for many hours, it was a bad time for you, but you did make an absolute, you did smash
there
it
may
very,
be a
very
book
well.
about it from the point of view of
I think you
Freddie.
should. I
I'm going
think
to
you
write it
should.
from the point of view of Freddie the Tumor, I think. So how I coped
Yeah.
with scats. So because I'm going to be the enemy for him. So yeah, we'll see how that works out.
You've got to include the scary buzzing light. That's still horrifying. When we used to go down to when you had your radiotherapy, and it was like almost like it was done on purpose. So they had the buzzing light as you walked in.
Yeah.
Someone change that bulb, please, because it was just
No,
awful.
it wasn't quite as loud as the machine when you're having the radiotherapy. So it's quite funny. Maybe that's why they do
Yeah.
it. They give you a kind of a taster before you go in. Here's a weird electrical noise, and then you go in and it's and a chunk 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 chunk. So yeah, bit scary. I was all right with that actually, because you know there's going to be an end to it.
Gracias.
You know how long it's going to last. You know how many times the thing is going to turn round, and how long you've got to kind of almost hold your breath for. You know, you can't hold your breath for those times, but well, I can't anyway. But there we go. Let's have a look at.
You can't.
Let's
Yeah,
get
you
these
can't
comments
move.
out the way before you have to run off. Has there been any movement with non-lucrative visa this week from Manchester? We've already answered that one. No.
Not on our end. I mean, I did. I got one. We got one. We got one letter back. Um, which was a bit of a strange one because it was an archived visa after someone submitted extra documentation they were requested, but they did it in person and then got it signed off in person and they archived it like it
Yeah.
hadn't been handed in. So, but anyway, that'll be dealt with. That's not a problem. But no visas at all out on our end, and I haven't seen any on social media either.
There we go. Ant says, still alive, staying alive, will survive. I will survive. There we go. That's 10 o'clock here in Spain, 9 o'clock in the UK. Peas and fluff. These are all of our catchphrases. Click here, click there, or somewhere abouts. There we go. Thanks for all of those phrases. You'll have to be quick, Ant. We'll go off the air in a minute or two. Julie has put her question up. She says, I am an Irish passport holder and received residency in October 24. My UK passport holder husband is still waiting nearly 12 months. Is this unusual?
12 months is unusual. Yeah, now it is a long time. So once you've got your Irish and you have to make the application in the subdelegation of the government, then the norm is it should be issued within 90 days. The truth is they are taking a lot longer than that. We've got a couple in Mercia now, which are hitting the 4 or 5 month point. We also had recently one of the clients who's actually, I know he watches the channel as well, who had a similar application with a Spanish family member, not EU, but similar, and that took 7 months to come through. I'd say 12 months is the longest I've ever heard of. So I'd be probably writing on. There is an incident platform where you can contact immigration and actually write a note just to make sure that you haven't missed any notifications and check the state. You can also check the status online. So yeah, I would be definitely chasing that up after 12 months.
Some more phrases from Ant. My waffling on. We like waffling on. And now Jane says, these are all from your channel. And Slow Visas Manchester. Can you hear me okay? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. There we go. Yes, very common phrasing. Suitable songs. How long has this been going on? That's a good one. When will I see you again? What's new, pussycat? Whoa, whoa, whoa. We'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when. Oh, Monday evenings, of course.
You're going to walk
Yeah,
with me
yeah.
now.
Chris is going back to the room. Yeah, let's
Shall we
walk.
walk? I'm just going to make sure my bags aren't on the road.
Uh-huh. Julie says we are in Puerto de Mataron. There you go, to answer that one.
Oh,
Very
nice.
Yeah, you're up near Sean. Jolly good.
Yeah, I like Mataron.
I'll
It's
have to go up
nice.
and visit Sean myself. And Jason says, great long-running show on Saturday mornings. I'll miss you both. Hope to see you on some Monday evenings. Is that a good day for you, Jason? Hopefully it is.
It's I think our viewer stats always show at 6 o'clock is the best time to publish a video.
Sean used to do his at like 8 or 9 o'clock in the evening. I think it's a bit too late. Too late for me anyway. I'll start to drift off at about 8 o'clock.
Yeah. Will be pixelated.
Yes. Ant says, Chris has left the building. That's more of an Elvis one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just, you can have a wander around, can't we? There's an ice cream shop here, look behind me. You can see that ice cream shop. Not really into ice cream.
No, I've had to stop.
Don't mind a sorbet.
Oh, yeah? Liz is a sorbet girl.
Yeah, sorbet. Yeah, lemon one. It's got to be sharp. Not really into sweet stuff.
Yeah, you were talking about the cocktails as well last night. You're saying you're more into the sharp one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely like a old-fashioned. Or they had spicy margaritas last night.
The one I had at the cocktail place in Compito was the very sweet one. It's really creamy with Baileys and whiskey and all kinds of things in it. It's called the FBI. Can't remember what it stands for.
Oh, sounds disgusting.
Absolutely divine. It's like having, well, it is a bit like having an ice cream, really, but very strong ice cream.
¿Cuánto es?
What are you buying?
Gracias. Yeah, let's buy some water because I just remembered Lara said bring some water back.
Done.
This is one of these Chinese shops here. You can get everything.
So
it's all naff.
Jason says it depends. That's one of the common ones. Of course it is, and there it is. And also the one I haven't put up today. It's a win-win-win with a cherry on top. And I used to say, let's dance. I used to do that at the end of all of the videos. And there's peace and love and peas and fluff. There we go. Those are all the ones that used to go on the screen there. And so, by the way, while Chris is walking, don't forget to check out his Upsticks website and the YouTube channel. The links are in the video description below and also in the super link. And don't forget the QR code in the top right. If you haven't already, buy us a coffee. I'm getting desperate. I've run out, and that's my second. So, yeah, get some in. You can buy 3, you can buy 5.
29 subscribers to go for the 5,000.
Yes, subscribe to Chris's channel.
So if it happens.
Fabulous. And also, if you want currency exchange, talk to me. Get the link down there for Smart Currency Exchange and use that, and you'll be helping YouTooSpain. It's a win-win-win with a cherry on top. Smash that like button. Do all of that. Is that your hotel? Righto,
I've
mate.
got to go in.
Well, in that case,
my
haven't
hotel.
done the goodie bag prizes. Tell you what, people whose names we mentioned.
Oh, let's do that. I've got a huge. If you're in Spain, we've got a huge goodie bag for you because Lobster Mobile came and dropped off loads of stuff to our office to give away as well.
So it's
caps, t-shirts. We've got
send your details,
loads.
everybody, its address and stuff like that into YouTube at upsticks.es, and the first ones in will get the prizes. There we go. And so,
well, what we'll do is, if everybody's on who wants a prize, who'd like a prize, is if you send us all your addresses through, and then we'll pick the one. Unfortunately, we can only send the big goodie bag to Spain. We can't send it to the UK because of tax reasons. But we'll put it all in a hat, and we'll pull it out on our first Monday, if you like, and we'll give a huge goodie bag, and then everybody else will get themselves a little prize that can stand out.
Brilliant.
So nobody will go
And that's
without.
told everybody who's on the show next week. It's Chris is joining us for the very, very first Monday show. So everybody, let's let Chris go because he's being kicked out of the hotel. So give him a big virtual kiss and a hug and say goodbye for now. And we will see you on September the 29th.
Thank you for having me on all these years on a
You're
Saturday.
very
It's
welcome.
been fun.
And let's
Really
do
has.
another
Thank you.
4.5 or more on podcasts.
Let's
All right.
do it.
Bye for now. Get in that hotel. Bye-bye.
Okay. See you. I'm going.
Excellent. Well, wasn't that groovy? We didn't talk about half the things we were going to talk about, but we talked to you on the live chat, and that is the main thing because it's all about you. So, I've already said who's on the next show. It's Chris, and it had to be Chris, starting it all off again on a Monday evening. And we haven't talked about what the topic of that is, but keep your eyes on the Facebook group or the page or both, and we will put up details as we decide exactly what that show is going to be all about. And we do have a midweek video this week. It's still on 6 o'clock on Wednesday until it moves to Fridays the following week. So it's all change on YouTooSpain. And of course, next Monday, 6 p.m. Spanish time, not next Monday. Don't come back in 2 days because, you know, we don't move until the 29th. Julie says, thanks for the info. Why do we write? Oh, who do we write to confirm they have received my husband's application, as it has been nearly 12 months? You need to check out, I think, on the website. Is it on Chris did say there is a place on the website where you can contact them and make an inquiry and follow up and chase. If write to Chris, email Chris on YouTube at upsticks.es, and he'll tell you exactly where to send your email. Yeah, you don't want pigeon post, do you? There we go. Thanks everybody for watching. Somebody pass around the retrospective celebration cookies. That's the biggest cookie name we've ever had on the show. So, peas and fluff, my friends, and I will leave you all with a message from all of the voices in my head here at YouTooSpain. And we may even, at some point, do a new end of the show little inserts. But for now, let's use the old one. Let's remember, here are all the characters in my head. Goodbye for now. Bye-bye.
Wave goodbye, lads. Bye. Goodbye. Toodaloo. Peace and love. Peas and fluff. Oi, oi. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. One more cosmic dance? All right, then. Look, Mum, I'm dancing. Oh, I'm all a quiver. Let's dance.